Hello, hello. Saturday. Hope everybody is doing well. This is what we're doing today. Light recon vehicle. US made them originally for the UK. They decided they didn't want a whole lot of them. US used them anyway. Really nice light recon vehicle. I'm gonna do it probably without the fenders. Just because I think it looks cool. And a lot of the pictures that I saw didn't have the fenders on anyway. So this is a nice old kit. Weird to call it old, than that it was only like 2001 or something, I think. No, this is a reboxing of it though, with more stuff. So it actually comes with a lot of the stowage that I would normally have to source from another box or from another kit. So it'll be nice to have that kind of detail to add outside, all in the one box. This is going to be a out of box build, not having any aftermarket. At least I don't have any right now. So that probably means no aftermarket. Just the odds and ends that I need, obviously, to build it. But as far as parts are concerned, it'll be right out of the box. Nice kit, like I said. Comes with the extras, comes with 3 or 4 different sets of markings that you can use. So like here's some of the like meal boxes that you can use if you want. Apparently open or closed. Kinda cool. Whether I'll use them or not, I don't know. But quite a few of those. And like I said, nice number of decals. It's pretty well reviewed. Comes with a couple figures too. I don't tend to build the figures. I probably won't be this time. I like just to kind of have a static display. There are options for open hatches that I will probably take advantage of. But mostly it's just going to be assembly. So my hope is to get most of the assembly done today. I don't know how realistic that is. It shouldn't be too complicated a build. But we'll see how far we get. We're going to almost completely assemble it, however. Last model the last piece of armor I built was a tank destroyer. And I built the whole thing and then painted it, and that went really well, rather than kind of doing it piecemeal. That's what I decided I wanted to do this time again. Like the way that turned out. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll try to remember to talk about what I'm doing while I do it. If anybody's here and has questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will just get this knocked together. And so this will just be kind of the assembly day for this kit. And I'll try to do some painting days as well. Although there's that may be easier said than done. If nothing else, we'll do a painting day or a building day today, and then some weathering days or something. Yeah. Put on my other camera so you can see my hands. Hopefully you can see whatever I'm doing. I picked this because I wanted something kind of straightforward and quick. My last thing I built was a Y-wing, and it was quite complicated. I really liked it. Pardon me while I look for what I dropped. Very important, the polycaps actually for some of the tires. So pick those back up. Hopefully all of them. Well, if we run into the case where we're not finding something, then it may be on the floor. So I was saying, the last thing I built was a Y-wing, and all the piping, as you can imagine, was quite complicated. So I wanted something simpler this time. And therefore, this. So this should be a simple build for the most part. The interior will be white. US Armor did most of the time. And the exterior, of course, drab. Provides an interesting opportunity for shading. So typically what I do is get the overall olive drab coat on, and then come back and do some fading. I've never had much luck with dark colors like olive drab and doing the pre-shading that some people do, so they'll like paint the whole thing black and then come back with a light coat of whatever color, so in this case olive drab on top of it. Never had good luck with that. And that's my own fault. I tend to paint too heavy. Coats are too heavy, I mean. I'm trying to figure out where to put my microphone and everything so I can still see what I'm doing. So I tried that on the Hellcat, and I just wasn't really happy with the way it came out. I think two reasons for that. I think one, like I said, my olive drab coat on top of the black was too heavy. And that's something I frequently do, unfortunately. I tend to spray a little too heavy. But it was also kind of difficult to see what I was doing because I was spraying a dark color on top of black. Sometimes it was difficult for me to tell when I had actually covered the part with the color, rather than it just being the black primer. So it worked well on the Y-Wing because it had so many nooks and crannies, all of the piping and tubing and intricacies. That's what makes me think the other part of it, other than my heavy-handedness of paint, it needs enough depth in the parts. So if you're painting a rather smooth surface and you paint heavily like I do, black pre-shading may not be that beneficial. But in a case when you've got a lot of details that you can pop out with the shading, then it might make more sense. Probably no painting today, though. Probably just assembly. So we'll try to get most of the assembly done today. So as usual, I like to use Tamiya extra thin cement. I have a couple different kinds, this and a quick setting variety. It quite literally melts the plastic together. So forms well, gives me a nice bond. It's really a thin liquid, so kind of sucks up into the cracks. Can be used for mild gap filling. Very mild. Not using them yet, but here's a lot of that extra stuff. So fuel cans, bed rolls, rucksacks, barrels. all kinds of stuff. So I'm pleased to have this because, like I said, normally I'd have to get extra stuff for that. I think this will give us a good chance to do some nice weathering too. As you can imagine, these things got quite filthy. This is the only thing I might get as an aftermarket, so this is what they want you to use for the tow cable, which is not uncommon. You don't usually have very good luck with it. So I might use some piano wire, or I might order a appropriately length tow cable. I may do that. But we'll see. I'd rather keep this one just straight out of the box. I actually bought this at a model show. I don't know when, but it's been a while. Two different sets of nippers. One is meant to be for the initial cut through a thick piece, plastic, a little bit more robust. The other is much sharper, but also a little bit more delicate, and it helps clean up the last little bit. So in cases where there is more than just a little bit left, I don't want to necessarily use just my X-Acto blade to cut off. Clean up with the fine nippers. I always start with a new X-Acto knife blade too. Especially if what I've done before has had any photo etch. That'll dull it really fast. Anyway, it's been a bit since I've built a model. Like I said, the last one I built was a Y-Wing, and that's several months. Just, haven't been in the right mood for it. I'm too far away. Is that better? You guys yell at me. I'm out of screen or talking too quietly. The music's too loud, or you have a question, or whatever. I may not. So I plan on uploading this to YouTube. I used to do that pretty regularly. I haven't done it in a while. And what I may do is when I do paint, because I paint with an airbrush for much of it. And as you can imagine, that's kind of difficult to go on camera. So what I may do is video it and then upload it separately. This is loud air compressor. So I can't really talk while doing it. And I can't, it's not going to be a long session because I paint and then I have to wait for things to dry. So probably what we'll do is assembly. And then I will maybe try to video the airbrushing I do and try to stitch together. I've never done that before. We'll see how that goes. And that way, if you're interested in learning about the airbrushing or about the cleaning of an airbrush or steps I take in painting, then there will be a video for that. But I've done it before on stream some time ago, and it's just not the easiest content to produce. I know some people will airbrush just like sitting at their bench. I don't do that. I have an airbrush hood. Try to minimize how much fumes are in the house. But in that way, at least, then there will be a video record. And I can, of course, answer things in the comments. Nicely molded 50 there. Got some nice detail with the suspension and drivetrain. A good opportunity to get things really dirty that I'll never see again because I don't tend to flip my models upside down. Suppose I could put it on a mirror or something if it comes out nicely enough. I always try to test fit before applying any glue, even to parts that are not something that I've assembled, but just the raw part. Sometimes, rare with Tamiya, but I have had hits that a part became warped over time, whether due to heat and storage or molding or whatever. And if you've already got glue on it, you're kind of in a race against time. Especially with something that's hot like this, and hot, what I mean by hot is it melts the plastic. You don't want to wait around for that. Alright, so it looks like we're going to get most of the suspension, or drivetrain I should say, here. Neat that they molded this all in one piece. I mean, obviously there's a lot to add to this one piece, but it gives you the structure. Rather than hoping you've got everything lined up correctly. I'm just gonna start and then work my way across. Try to keep from missing anything that way. Be really careful when trimming thin parts like this. It's very easy to put pressure in just the right angle to snap a thin part. But depending on the part, sometimes I find it better to push towards my fingers, other times it's better to push away. And I have to see how the part responds in your hands. As weird as that sounds. one thing to be very careful about with this Tamiya pen. Not going to do anything to your fingers, but if you put your finger I should say, where you have just put glue, you're going to have a nice fingerprint in the plastic. Ask me how I know. Very easy mistake to suddenly make, and then you've got to try to sand it out or hide it in some way, or hope you're lucky in that it is in a place that's not visible. Yes, it's very easy to save your fingerprint forever. I'll stick. There are lots of good glues out there. Don't necessarily have to use one as hot as Tamiya. But it's what I'm used to. I really like how it uses capillary action and kind of enters into the gap. Like I said, can kind of fill small gaps, which is sometimes handy. Trying to figure out why it looks so dark. Very well lit on my desk, but it's quite dark here. It's the white. That is a good better. Yeah, okay, that's my problem. I need to keep the instructions out of the frame. How about that? Lesson learned for next time. That does that. Complicated drive shaft, huh? Let's see. It goes there like that. Has some supports. That maybe I should put on first. But let's cut those off and see. The drive shaft's not glued on yet. I wanted to see if I should glue the drive shaft on first and then attach these supports, or if I need to attach the supports first and then the drive shaft. Much easier to do when things are not glued. Thinking I want to glue them first. Then we can put everything down where it's supposed to be. Make sure those supports are actually attached where they're supposed to on the back. Holding some things in place to try to let it dry a little bit. The back axle might have to wait until its support is, or the other half of the suspension is added. Okay. These go outside. Suspension. Looking pretty good already. Alright, here we have an option. Open these holes when attaching B16 in step 2. B16 is some storage or other, and I am going to add it at those holes. They are nicely marked on the inside of the piece, so I'm just going to get my drill bits. I don't know if I have that one that's that big. But if I can get most of the depth, most of the width, I should say. That's the word I'm looking for. And I can clear the rest out. Almost big enough. That'll serve as a mounting point for some storage later. And this is just a little hand drill. That's quite a few of them broken. I actually have a whole nother set, but most of the ones that are broken are the very small ones that I don't use very often. Okay, so onward. Be very careful trimming small pieces like this. It's easy to launch them into space, never to be found again. I have a few builds that have impromptu battle damage. Some things can be hidden with appropriate weathering. Some things are a little harder to hide. One thing that's this kit does not have is an engine. Get one. Good. I assume you still can. As an aftermarket piece. Aftermarket little add-on. I'm choosing not to. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out which way to attach this piece. That feels right. This is where the engine... That's it. That one. Probably have drilled out that exhaust. See if it shows up anywhere else. It does not. I'm going to try. See if I can't drill it out in place. I'm just using the tip of the X-Acto knife to mark kind of a center point best I can. Gives the place for the drill to kind of bite into. Like I did pretty well. It doesn't need to be very deep. Putting that camera right in front of me. just the illusion of depth, and later black paint. That's really all it takes. But it has some nice realism, I suppose, to it, other than just having a solid tube there to represent what the exhaust would have been. So a little drill set like this is quite handy. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on. But anyway. I think it was worth it at least. More suspension components here, some struts. Box, I don't know. Box, I guess. A little stubborn in the displacement. Looks kind of funny, but it's right. Need to make sure I take a note. Decal that needs to go behind the storage that I chose to drill the holes for. And I need to make sure I hold off on patching that storage until I actually need to. Let me do that while I'm thinking about it. Otherwise, there's no way. Okay, I think that finishes the undercarriage. Wherever possible, I like to try to put the glue on where it won't be seen. Not always possible. We'll go ahead and put the seats in, even though the pads of the seats obviously are gonna be black. I'll come back and hand paint them anyway. But the frames would stay white, so we'll go ahead and put them on. There are some things in here I will leave out because it will be difficult to get around them to paint. For instance, we're going to put the radio in here in a minute, and the fire extinguisher, for instance, that needs to be red. I don't really want to try to paint that amongst all the white. Sounds like a good way to make a mess. So there are some things that I will be leaving off to add later. And the radio will be one of them, because it's the upper portion of it's just black. So I'll insert the bottom half, which is the shelf it sits on, to be white. And when I paint the entire interior white, it will become white. But the radio itself needs to be black, and I can paint it black separately and then pack it into place after everything's dried, and then weather it all together. I don't want to weather them as separate parts or anything. The driving compartment of this vehicle was actually quite simple in the pictures that I've seen of it. So there's not really a whole lot to add. So having it as an open hatch is reasonable. On my Hellcat, I did not open the driver's compartment because there was nothing in it. And again, there's certainly aftermarket kind of stuff that you could do. But in that case, I did not. There wasn't a whole lot of purpose in opening the driving compartment. here, again at least, there are representations of what should be in there. This is the single radio variant. I read that some of them were equipped with 2 radios. Well, all of them were equipped with 2 radios, one a short range and one long range, but some actually had a secondary long range radio, to my understanding. Which is why I guess one side of this is open where the radio will sit and the other is closed off. I believe that would be ammo storage, if I remember correctly. Well, let's see. Here is the base of the radio. And again, it should be painted white. The equipment itself would be black. So I think... I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna glue the... Oh. I think I am gonna go ahead and attach the radio, because I'm afraid spacing might not be quite right if I... I can hand paint it well enough for what we'll be able to see through the hatches. So, I have changed my mind.
I try to remember, but when everything is coming back to me, my memory is paralyzed.
Now let's see. What is the last thing you can remember?
I don't know.
Pretty good detail on the radio. So we will dry brush that, and it will pop out quite nicely.
Go on.
So unlike with my Hellcat, where I actually assembled all the way, I put the upper hull on, it was all completely assembled. I will assemble the lower half and the upper half, and then paint the interior the flat white it needs to be painted. Then later attach the hull halves together. At least that's my plan at this current moment. Alright, I think, other than the fire extinguisher, which I will still leave out because it sits right here in the middle. And again, it needs to be red. I I will paint that separate and insert it. I think that covers most of the interior. So I'm going to step away for just a minute and grab another water, and I will be right back. Okay. So we'll set the the lower hull off to the side for now. Having them separate will also allow me to paint the instrument panel and things like that, which would be white with black tiles. Again, you're not going to be able to see a whole lot through the hatches, I think, but enough. I think I might actually leave that T in just for a minute. This should come out. Will. And I have quite a few holes I need to make here as well. We'll make those before we attach anything. These are probably for wool attachments or the like on the upper hull. Interestingly, there's a lot more indentions here that could have marked other holes, but it says there's only 6, and those are the flags did. All right. Shaft. Steering wheel. And instrument panel. Easy enough. This will be a little challenging to paint. The gauge is behind the steering wheel. I probably should have left the steering wheel off. But cross that bridge when it's burning. With a fine brush and paint, patience, anything is possible. Sometimes I don't have the patience, but yeah, see, it wants me to go ahead and put this on to the lower hull. I'm not going to do that yet, I don't think. And I'll show you why. One thing, I want the underside of this white. Not really likely that you'll see it. But on the off chance that the angle is just right, I would like for it to be the right color. And if it's white and you shine a flashlight in there, then it should help illuminate. The problem is once I get the center portion of the upper hull attached. The area through which I would be able to paint the interior quite small. So again, trying to add the glue. Be seen. Always possible. Let's go in. Okay, so here's why I'm going to do it separately. The amount of space I'd have to airbrush through there. Pretty small, because I want to get all this in here white, everything through that you can see there, white. Possible? Yes. Difficult? Also yes. So, why I think I'm going to do it separately. Hopefully not making my life difficult. In fact, hopefully this makes my life easy. There are some things I cover that probably should be painted before I cover them, but I know you'll never see, so like these covers for the engine area. The engine area. Once I put these on, there's no way I'm going to be able to paint under them. But there's also no way you'll ever see under them. Unless they come off. And I'm supposed to, so. But I do want the exterior to be all painted olive drab at the same time. So, what I will probably do is paint all the interior white it needs to be. And then attach the upper hull to the lower hull, and then mask off the interior so that I can then paint the exterior without marring my finish. Careful how I set it down because the carrying column is right in the way. Another thing I won't do is I'm not going to do the wheels. I'm not going to put the wheels on because I want to be able to paint behind the wheels, especially with all the suspension that's back there. I did actually did have on my Hellcat all of the tracks and road wheels and everything. It worked. It was perhaps a little overly complicated. Problem there is I had to have the road wheels on to match the tracks into the right shape. And couldn't really do that without them being on. And there was also a fender that went over them. So it didn't really make sense to try to do them separately. Here, I think I can get away with it. Now these hinged, I want to call them fenders, but portions of the upper hull I will attach, but the other fenders that you'll see here, because I kind of like the way they look with the wheels exposed. And like I said, a lot of the pictures that I've seen of these vehicles in use, they had removed these, because you can imagine that they just ended up being caked in mud, just clogged debris. So a lot of the images I've seen of them did not have the fenders attached. Just fine for me. I don't really want to have to try to mimic baked mud like that. I will be muddying this thing up, but I don't tend to heavily weather my vehicles or anything really. Personally, I find it difficult to make really heavy weathering look realistic. It may be realistic in the scale, but it doesn't look it to me. So I tend to err on less weathering rather than more. So this step is where I would actually assemble the wheels. I'm gonna skip that for now. Like I said, I don't intend to attach them until later. Although I should make sure actually. Hoping even these small fenders that I have added are not in the way. They don't look like they are. You know what? Let's build one wheel. Let's build one wheel and see. We will build a rear wheel. How I will ever tell the difference. Oh no. Bit of a seam wheel. I'm gonna scrape down that seam. You can do this with an X-Acto blade, but I have a tool for seams, so. I want to do this just to see if it's difficult to get behind it or not. Most of this I gotta paint black, right? But the inside and of the hub should be olive drab. Both front and back. So usually what I will do is I will paint the whole thing olive drab, mask off the hub, and then paint the wheel. They call it flat black, but I usually use a rubber black. A bit more realistic. There's a nice little poly cap in here, so you glue it. Not that I intend to roll this around like a toy or anything. But you could. Not sure what the difference between the front and rear wheels are. Oh, the hub caps are. Alright, so the wheels are simple. What I'm curious about is whether I can get behind them or not. Yeah, I can pretty well. They do spin. Still think I'm gonna wait. I think I will assemble them later. Well, I may actually go ahead and assemble them now, but attach them later, I guess I should say. The only difference, it seems, is the exterior facing hubcap. They don't even seem to be different diameter, or width, I should say. We'll just assembly line this real quick, and then set them to the side. The scraper I have is not really meant to remove the remaining sprue, so I'm kind of coming through and cleaning that up, and then I will come back and scrape the Don't always scrape the seams. Sometimes they're not as obvious as others, but the wheels are so prominent on this. Seems like it would be poor choice not to at least try to get most of the seam off. I want to do this a little bit different than I did the first time. Attach the exterior hub to the interior motion to make sure that I don't accidentally glue. Polycap. Sorry, I keep pumping that camera. I wish the mount was a little stiffer. It's right, obviously, between me and what I'm doing. Quite easy to bump, but hopefully, although I'm using the wide angle and I realize that probably just seeing most of my hands. Even harder to see, isn't it? I guess we'll just keep it wide. Probably more useful when I'm painting rather than assembling and scraping. A lot to see anyway. My hope was that if I wasn't on one camera, at least I was on the other. Hey, Cleary. You just getting up? Are you sad that you're awake, or are you sad that you're only now awake? I feel like those are two different possibilities. Yes. Fair enough. Okay. The wheels are assembled. Like I said, we're gonna leave them off for now. I may put them on or I paint, but more likely I will probably paint them separately. It just seems like it's gonna be simpler. Okay, here's something I've got to decide. Couple things. I'm not doing the fenders, like I said. I'm leaving those off. Because I kind of like the way it looks without them. Big wheels showing. Plus, like I said, they were just a crap ton of junk under them. The other thing I've got to decide, though, is whether I want the mine racks or not. And I think I'm gonna go not. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna put the mine racks on there. Yeah, we're gonna choose not to use the mine racks. Tool chests or whatever they are instead. Like I said, we won't be using the fenders. See how that could make a cool diorama though, having like the fenders off to the side. They had just been removed. kind of a maintenance scene or something. So this boxing of this vehicle has a lot of aftermarket stuff. So like barrels and stuff that it wouldn't carry, but would be useful in a diorama like scene. Guessing this is maybe like a cover for the fuel cap or something? I have no idea. A lot of times I do more research than I have. This was just, I walked into my closet, I picked this off the shelf, said this looks cool, and started building it. A little less knowledge going into this one. Got tow hooks there. One thing you'll see me do in a minute, I actually typically attach all the field tools, the shovels and picks, all those kinds of things. Because a lot of times they have molded on mounts, tie downs, the lockdowns, whatever. And I will paint everything olive drab to begin with, putting those mounts, and then I'll come back and paint the tools. And what I usually do is flat black for the tool as a base, and then I use charcoal or graphite, I should say. You know, like from a pencil. And I shave it down, and I just kind of rub it on the black, and it gives a nice metallic sheen to it. Couple tie downs there on the front. Headlights. I know this is off camera, but I'm trying to make sure that everything's level. Same angle. At least as far as the eyeballs can tell. Yeah, those holes were a lot bigger than they needed to be. Millimeter, 2 millimeter wide holes for this 0.5 millimeter wide attachment. And my I get glue on that. Oh well. Don't do that, kids. Oh, well, actually completely covers the axe, so I'll get to paint the wood of the axe, and I'll get a fine brush in there to get the black of the axe head, but it won't show up much. That step. I think I will also delay adding the radio aerials, or the bases for them, because I want to like angle them back. So I might actually have to use some heat. I'll probably leave those off for now. Circle that though to make myself a reminder. The pickaxe handle. And the pickaxe head. Like I said, I'm not gonna attach the the radio aerials. Radio. I'll do that another time. George. You'll have to help me out here. What's WSG? Ah, what's good? Sunny day. Not having to work. Getting to work on a model. Those are good things. What's good with you? Welcome to the stream. You know, I should have just guessed, because I actually had kind of what's up guy, or what's good, or, you know, that general idea. I should have just guessed. Well, things are good here. A nice day. A nice sunny day too, yeah. Had a fairly lazy morning. Played some Breath of the... or Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom. Dogs for a walk. Had a nice lunch. So yeah, pretty good day. Pretty good day. Looking like if we don't completely there, we ought to get pretty darn close to getting assembly done here on this Greyhound. If I can keep up my momentum for a little longer. The goal, for those of you who have joined us recently, is to get this as assembled as possible. And then I will paint it all at once. That's the idea, at least. I've done this once before with a M18 Hellcat, which was a tank destroyer. that case, I was able to completely assemble it because the fighting compartment that you could see through the turret opening, because it was not an enclosed vehicle, I could paint everything I needed to when I had the turret off, because there was nothing in the driving compartment to show, so those hatches were closed. So it made it quite easy to just kind of paint it all at once. In this case, there's enough in the driver's compartment to warrant showing it. Looking for a word there. So, because of that, I need to be able to paint it, and it white. Imagine that might be kind of difficult to paint through the sorry, I'm trying to position things and talk at the same time, and that's not working. Might be difficult to paint through the small openings that I will have for the driver and co-driver hatches. So while I would like to have already put on or attached the upper hull to the lower hull, as I did with the Hellcat, it won't quite work here. At least I don't think it would. Because as you see, if I get this on here, it's going to be really difficult to paint in the driver's area. With the idea being that I will get the interior all painted white like it needs to be, and then come back, patch the upper hull, and mask it off so that I can paint the exterior. Without having to try to airbrush white through a very narrow opening. That's the idea, at least. It can definitely be tough. I use a nice light gray primer, usually, when I have to paint white. And that makes it a little easier. My biggest concern is less the color and more space through which I have to paint it. Let's not drop the tiny piece, please. Because the hatches for the driver's compartment are small. So getting my airbrush through there, I think would be unnecessarily challenging, since I don't have to assemble it all in one go. However, I do want the hull, upper and lower, to be painted at the same time with the same paint at the because I have found that even using the same bottle of paint and the same bottle of primer, just being slightly off in the ratios, paint. I'm sorry, not primer. Thinner. The just being slightly off in the ratio of thinner to paint. Humidity of the day, the temperature at which time I'm painting. All these things can lead to slight differences in the color. And if it's a difference that I want, that's one thing. In fact, we will purposefully vary the olive drab color on this vehicle. But I want that variety to be on purpose. So I want the two halves of the hull attached when I paint them. Because that's the only way I can be sure, right? So even things that I am not attaching at the moment, so like the radio aerials that I will attach later after I've bent them into the shape I want them. That kind of thing, I will use this. I will paint at the same time so that color is consistent. I don't think I'm going to do any live stream airbrushing. I was talking about that earlier, and as you can imagine, it is a pain in the butt. For one, I use an air compressor and it's loud. And trying to get the angle right with my cords and cables, it's just a mess. So I think what I'm probably going to do is a lot of the painting I will try to film, but not live. And I'll upload to my YouTube. And I will try to edit it all together. I've never done that before. So it will be a learning experience. And we'll see how that goes. That way, you don't leave an unpainted model and come back to a completely painted model. I will do hand painting probably live, and my weathering. But the airbrushing will be recorded. I think there's a way I can try to stream pre-recorded stuff. Might try to do that, I don't know. Or heck, I might even like walk through it. That's an idea. I don't know what you guys think about that. I actually would like record it and then play the recording on stream. Talk about what I'm doing. That might be the best way to do this. But think about it a little bit. Either way, end of painting will be recorded. And whether it's just uploaded to YouTube or I stream the recording and talk about it, we can see what happens. been a long time since I actually tried to stream airbrushing, and it worked. But the reason it worked was because I was streaming from a laptop at that point, and so I could move the laptop over by my airbrush hood. I can't do. That laptop is so old. It doesn't really function very well. So it becomes not a viable option, really. I gotta say, I've never had flat, wide tweezers like this before, and I've got to ask where they've been all my life. Making grasping some of these smaller pieces much easier than they have been in my past. Very handy. The set I bought from a company called Master Tools. Master Tools, very handy. I think that takes care of that step. Let's see. Got headlamps, tie downs, periscope. Shovel, axe, cover, tie downs, and latches. The hooks on the front, tool chest on the side. Don't have the radio aerials, but I'm choosing to do that later. Same tie downs and latches. Pickaxe and its handle, periscope, more tie downs, rear lights, row hook, the loops. Not attaching that stowage on the side because I need to put decal there first after painting. Okay, I think that's it for that step. Not periscopes. It's where the doors, the doors to the hatches, blah blah blah. Would lie. I'm not going to put the driver's hatches on right now, for the same reason as I didn't do so earlier. I need to be able to paint under them. Ugh, I'm starting to run out of steam. I'm not sure we're going to be able to finish the assembly, but we'll see. A16. Why is it always the little parts that you drop? Probably because they're little parts. Probably, self-defining. George, I don't know if you're still around, but if you are, do you build? Assume you do, since you said whites are problematic as a paint color. What do you like to build? I build a little bit of everything. Armor, aircraft, ship models, automobile, motorcycle, sci-fi. The only thing I don't really do much, or really any, is figures. Nice. I guess I should say I don't do any Gundam really. I have done one. I did Death Scythe on Gundam Wing. The last build I did was actually a Y-Wing. A lot of fun. Nice. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was tedious putting in all the piping and whatnot, but I painted them all the pipes, or a lot of the pipes, brass, copper, I should say. And then used a weathering agent, the copper patina. Thought it turned out pretty good. after doing all that pipe work, I decided I wanted something simpler. That's kind of what this is. Not simple per se, but definitely simpler. Something that I can just kind of assemble and like I said, I'm not going to put the patches on because I want to be able to paint under them. So those will be for another day. I will again paint them at the same time as everything else, but well, I'm gonna see what I can do in the next 20 minutes or so, and then I probably need to wrap it up. But see how far we can get. I was hoping to finish, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. Definitely need to do that. I am a bit poor in Final Fantasy right now. I get for not paying attention. Hey Tenmar, how are you? Good evening. How are things in South Africa? Oh, sorry, my words are hard today. How are things in South Africa today? Decent day? Good. I'll take decent. Well. It's, something. Yeah, that face probably sums it up pretty well. I am doing well. I am fine. I am having a good day. It's sunny. Day started off nicely. Thanks. You know, I have had a few comments or compliments in my life. I don't think that's ever been one of them. Thank you. I did get told. I did get told once that I have nice lungs. Get an X-ray. Yeah. I was getting a chest X-ray. This was a long time ago, probably in college, and I had been a swimmer competitively for 6 years before that. So therefore, had nice lungs, I guess. Allergies or some such, maybe? I know we've had a couple of storm fronts come through, and that's kicked up a lot of stuff in the air here. We had a lot of kind of bad weather come through. A lot of storms. Thankfully, I was not impacted. But it has something up in the air. Really wish this was molded as one piece. We are making a World War II M8 Greyhound. Show you a picture of it. It was a 6-wheeled reconnaissance vehicle. Actually still in use today. by a few countries. I think Brazil is one. Obviously very, very upgraded from what they were in the 40s. More or less the same as they were. Show you the box top. Zoomed in too far. That's what it looks like. Little infantry support recon vehicle. I said I was hoping to finish it today, but I don't, or to finish the assembly today, but I don't think we're gonna make it. I am starting to get hungry. You got any weekend plans? I know the weekend is half over for you. It's always nice after a long work week. You played any more Final Fantasy? I understand that. There are times when I'm just like, you know, nah, don't want to do anything. That's okay. We won't hold it against you. Yeah? Have you had to travel anymore, or has it just been usual busy? It's unfortunate I broke it. Yeah, I can imagine. Really a messed up situation. Yeah, when you have a heavy cough like that, it's really, as you say, really, it's annoying. And this is another place you have to make a choice. I'm actually going to use the machine gun mount that was added later, so there's a hole here that I'm not going to drill. Nice thing about this kit, it actually provides you a couple different options. If you had a particular unit you wanted to model here. It's nice to have some flexibility like that. Another thing I probably won't do until later is insert the ammunition, because it's going to be a totally different color. So remind myself to do that. Yeah, we're gonna be close, but I don't think we're gonna finish. We'll see. Yeah, this one's pretty detailed. Not as intricate as, like, say, what my ship builds might have been. Naval subjects tend to be a little bit more complicated, and I chose this because I did not want overly complicated. But it's complicated enough. And it will have some neat opportunities to dirty it up. Right. So when you get a model like this, all of the parts are separate. They show up on these plastic trees. You trim them off as you need them and glue them together and paint them up. Sometimes there are extra metal parts that you can get to add more detail usually. The plastic is great, but sometimes you can't mold it thin enough to be at the scale you need it to be. Sometimes you'll find extra metal pieces that are thinner, still have some strength to them. Right. So, depends on what you're building. This one is good enough out of the box for me. There are some things that I could have gotten for extra detail, so like this whole part actually could have been a metal aftermarket piece. I chose to build it out of the box. And depending on what you're building, sometimes you paint as you go, sometimes you can paint everything at the end. Depends on what you're doing. Armor, tanks, vehicles like this, often you can just put them all together at once and then paint them because they're more or less the same color. That provides both simplicity and complexity, actually. And some kits require glue, other kits snap together. Yes. Yeah, it's actually, well, very similar in application. Applicator, I guess. But no, it is glue. Liquid cement, I guess. It's, actually melting the plastic together. My drill bit's stuck. I'll drill out the that is probably where I'm going to have to stop. I almost made it. So, recap what we've done. Oh, sorry, I just saw your question, Tamar. So I've been streaming this for just under 4 hours. I probably have another 30 minutes to an hour before I would be done with the assembly. So call it... If I hadn't been sitting here talking, probably 4 hours for just assembly. And then it'll probably take another 3 or 4 hours of painting, not including drying time. This one's pretty simple. Some of my Navy ships can take a lot longer than that. On the order of 40 hours or more. Just depends on the subject and how detailed it is. How much extra I'm adding. If I'm building something just straight out of the box like this, it tends to take less time. So, let's look at what we've done. So I got the lower hull done, including all of its suspension and drivetrain. Quite complicated for a 6-wheeled vehicle, as you might expect. I do have the wheels, but not on. We also completed the upper hull. So this would sit like this. And again, the reason that we haven't attached it yet is because I need to paint the inside white. And that will be easier done with this off, because otherwise I've got to go through here and through these small openings. Which is feasible, I suppose, but harder than necessary. So I'll paint the inside white, and then I will attach the upper hull. The upper hull will all be olive drab. We also got a good chunk of the turret done. This would sit up here, obviously. I don't have the seats or the machine gun ring. That would have been next, but we didn't quite get there. So I don't know. Like I said, it's probably only going to take me another 30 minutes, to maybe an hour to finish the rest of the assembly. So I may or may not stream that. And I also mentioned it's unlikely that I will stream the actual airbrushing because it's noisy and difficult to get a good camera angle. But I think what I'll do is I will try to record it, and I will either post it to YouTube, or I will stream it and talk about it. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. I will probably stream it and talk about it, because just like it would be hard to stream it because it's loud, I can't exactly talk while I'm doing it. So, yeah, not bad for 4 hours of work. I don't know. I still have a lot of little things to do, so maybe I'll stream the last little bit of it. I don't know, but my stomach is growling, and I'm surprised you can't hear it. So I do think I'm going to call it there for the day. My next stream will be tomorrow evening, my time at least. We'll be back in Final Fantasy doing the savage raids. So for those of you who've been here for a while, or for who showed up towards the end, I appreciate you coming by. If you're not already following, blah blah blah, like, subscribe. I do have a YouTube channel, same name. I'm Johnny5. If you want to see past stuff, it's there usually. Really enjoy talking with you. Good to see you, Tonmar. George, if you're still around, thanks for stopping by. And Cleary, as one of my most frequent viewers, given you're in the same time zone. If you're still here, thanks as well. Anybody else who just popped by and didn't say hi, thanks to you as well. And hopefully we'll see you next time.